Hello, it's Bailey and welcome back to my channel. You are catching me on probably my most hectic day of this month. It is my packing day as we get ready to head out on a trip. It's also day 2 of Wonderthon, so I'm trying to read. My team is losing. And in case you're wondering, I committed to the pajamas all weekend, so you'll see that in my vlog coming on Thursday. But what we are here to do today is my May wrap up. So let me just go ahead and tell you what happened in May. You could argue it's been my worst reading month of the year so far, but I accomplished like a really satisfying book to finish, so I'm happy with the month regardless. I would have been happy just finishing that because it's like a huge thing off my plate now. But here is my graphic that compares my this month to this year's average to last year's average. So I read a total of 10 books in May, totaling 2,647 pages. That was 37 hours of physical reading time, making my average reading speed per hour 71.5 pages an hour. And I did listen to 10 hours of audiobooks, which is really just one audiobook. I read 6 physical books, 3 ebooks, and 1 audiobook. 3 of these books I owned. 4 of them I acquired fairly closely to reading them, and then 3 I did get from my library. I read 3 adventure books, 2 romances, 2 fantasies, 2 contemporaries, and 1 historical. For age range, I read 5 adult books, 3 children's books, 1 young adult, and 1 new adult. And I read no books published in 2023, but I had 3 published in 2020 to 2022, 6 from 2010 to 2019, and then only 1 published before 2010, with the Magic Tree House books that we're getting to now being published later on. My before 2010 category should most likely be my smallest each month now. And not a terrible month for ratings. I did have 1 DNF, but I had no 1 stars. I had 2 2 stars, 1 3 star, 5 4 stars, and 1 5 star. So I was definitely hovering that 4-star range, but that makes my average star rating for the month a 3.72, which is fairly high for me. So to get into what those books are, I don't like that sometimes I post my wrap-ups before you see a vlog that a book is in, but that's really gonna happen here. I have some vlogs that are not gonna come out for like quite a while, and because you're watching this you're gonna know how I liked them already, but that's okay. The book I DNF'd was The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. I think I read like 160, 180, somewhere in there pages. I gave it a good try and I still just was not enjoying this one. I didn't like the first book. I did decide to give the second book a try, and I just think her writing style is not for me. The way that it's not even really like info dump. It's like purposely keeps you in the dark about how certain things work. Just doesn't work for me. And then again, my lowest rated book in that 2-star range, I did give it 2 stars because I did go to a whole book club discussion on it, and I know that like most of those people really enjoyed it, so I definitely think it's a me problem. But I read Year of Wonders by Geraldine Brooks and just really didn't enjoy the writing style. I think because I felt so disconnected from the writing style, it was difficult for me to even follow the story. Like the book club people were talking about things that I'm like, I didn't even catch that because I was so just like blah. So that one didn't go well for me. And then my other 2-star, I would call this like a 2.5 star, is my big project book of the month that, like I said, I'm just happy to have this out of my way. And if I had only read this month, I would have been fine with that. But that is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J Maas. I've said it over and over again that I think this series gets worse as it goes on, so not surprised I gave it 2 stars the first time I read it as well, but that's finishing a 7-book series and reading a very chunky book, so onward we go. And then for my 1 3-star book, I'd probably consider this like my most disappointing or like most shocking rating, that I only gave this 3 stars because I love this author and I've loved things by them, but I gave 3 stars to Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I do think this was like a good, fun book. I like her writing style. I had a good time conceptually while I was reading it, but I just don't think in the end that it is like the best thing ever. I said in my Goodreads review that there were just aspects that I wasn't able to like suspend my disbelief on, mostly the fact that they somehow end up at the same place, and there's just a lot of coincidences that go on. And I also, while enjoying that our main female character's sister is there with her and like pregnant and talking about like funny pregnant things as I'm pregnant, I didn't like the like secret, I guess, that her sister was keeping. So again, I just didn't find it realistic. But it's still a fun rom-com book. I will continue to be reading Emily Henry. I think just some tropes and some things work better than others. Every trope can't be a hit for everyone. Now, getting into my 4 stars, I'm going to talk about these as a group, just because they are, and it's the Magic Tree House books that I ended up reading in this month. But it's a weird assortment and not exactly what we talked about in the live show, because I actually didn't finish number 29 and 30 in time last month. So I read A Big Day for Baseball and Hurricane Heroes in Texas and enjoyed both of these, gave them 4 stars. And then I only read one of the ones that were technically for May, because we didn't do the live show until like a couple days into June, but I read Warriors in Winter also and gave that one 4 stars. So I'm enjoying these newer ones more than I had been enjoying some of the other ones, which is exciting. And if you didn't know, I am now helping co-host the Magic Tree House read along with Martine. Kayla decided to step aside and I was like, I'll be there. So yeah, so fun time still getting through this series. Next, in my 4 stars, I read Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo, and I really ended up enjoying this one. This is going to be a book club book as well, so I can't wait to discuss it with the people in said book club. But this is kind of like a generational and cultural story surrounding the expectations of women in this culture and their expectations of like having babies and such. This is a very dark book in my opinion. It focuses a lot on infertility and loss of a child, and it's just like really traumatic, which doesn't make it sound like I think you should pick it up, but I did really enjoy it. I think it was well written, and I think that the overall story was very interesting, so I really enjoyed that one. And my final 4 star, a very high 4 star, I finally read You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke Emezi, and really super enjoyed this one. This is a bit of a taboo story that is largely focused on just like finding your person and choosing what's right for you, and it's also just like a beautiful story about art and creativity, and I thought it was amazing. I am not the book synopsis girly, but just trust me, this one is it. And then finally, for my 5-star book, happily, this was the Shelf This Book Club for the pick of May, chosen by Ruby from Ruby Red, and we read Now Is Not the Time to Panic by Kevin Wilson. I was very skeptical of this one. Whenever I see that a book is like supposed to be like just a literary fiction, general fiction, I always think I don't like that more than that is actually true, and I ended up really enjoying this one. Again, this centers a lot around art. Our main characters make a piece of art that kind of spirals out of their control. It gets like sensationalized, it goes viral, but not like on the internet. What's the word for that? But overall, like the biggest message I took from this is how like something can have so much importance in your mind, and then you think that it held the same importance to all these other people, but like come to find out once you actually confront that, they're just like, oh, it's no big deal. Not really, but how you can hold something in such high regard and nobody else is thinking about it the way that you are. And I really ended up loving this one. It's a short one, so I enjoyed like the length and the concise story that this was. So that was my month of May. I do think that June's going to be a little bit crazy because I'm going to be reading for Wonderthon. So if my wrap up for June is 4 times as long as this one, I mean, I guess that'll be a good thing because that means I got through a lot of things. But thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!